Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 6 of CDA training. This week, we will be finishing up Module 3, Section 2. The combination of Module 3 is social and emotional development. And so this week, we will be primarily focusing on the emotional development and how that is developed through play, working with other children, and looking at how play supports emotional development. So throughout this conversation and this module, we want to be sure that we recognize that the difference between social and emotional development. Those words are both defined in the screencast from this week and the screencast from last week. So be sure that you understand the differences, because a lot of times when people are talking about this area of development, they run it together as if it's just one concept. And we want to be able to separate and identify what distinguishes each of those ideas. Also, we'll be spending a lot of time talking and reading through this unit about the difference between punishment and guidance, and keeping in mind that we want to try and move away from punishment and move more towards the goal of using guidance in our early childhood classrooms, that children learn through guidance. And under that concept of working towards the goal of guidance, we want to keep in mind that certain behaviors that we want children to exhibit have to be taught. So for example, a child may start misbehaving at nap time. And so if we take a step back and we're looking at behavior as a form of communication, what we want to try and figure out is, what is that child trying to communicate? And how can we help them to move through that activity without any acting out behaviors? And so what we're looking for is, what concepts might we have to teach that child, like how to get their beds ready, or how to ease into the routine of that nap time, to help create more positive behaviors. The other aspect of positive guidance that we want to look at is keeping in mind that we really need to have a thorough understanding of developmentally appropriate practices and how that affects our interactions with the children in the classroom. And so this can be really seen when we're talking about behaviors that occur maybe during transition. During transitions, sometimes we have children who are unable to completely participate in a positive manner. And if we keep in mind that developmentally appropriate practices, it may be not in that child's ability to stand waiting for a transition to occur, or waiting for the transition to finish, if we're expecting the child to participate in waiting in a line before going outside, while all 16 children in a preschool classroom line up. So that's an important concept to keep that developmentally appropriate practices in mind when we're talking about guidance. The other things that we will be looking at this week is moving into our homework assignments. This week, your discussion question will actually be a nurturing, responsive, nurturing checklist that you will be going through either for yourself in the classroom or a peer in the classroom, and looking at examples of those behaviors that are on the checklist. And keep in mind that the checklist should be responded to and uploaded so that your classmates can be responding by Thursday during this week, and then your classmates will have time to respond. Remember that because we do have so few students in this course, we're only having the expectation of at least responding to one, but being sure that you do respond to one of your peers and their discussions. The other thing is that in the last module, you will have completed your resource assignments where you're working on your lesson plans, or you should be working on completing the lesson plans that go with that work. So in this unit, we will be starting the second, for us, competency statement related to competency 3 in the CDA guidelines, social and emotional development. So when you're writing your competency statement this week, I'd like to see you really focusing in on how you will be looking at creating positive social emotional development in your classroom, as well as looking at positive behavior reinforcement and how you can build that into your classroom. And so taking those ideas, building your competency statements based on what you would be doing in your classroom or what you are doing in your classroom. And then the last assignment that you'll be working on is check your knowledge module 3. And again, remember that these check your knowledge modules are 10 points, and so they're important that you get in and you complete that assignment by Sunday. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will see you in class this week. Thank you and have a good night.